Me.
It's good to talk face to face. I know you're on this coast because of the National Governors Association and meetings there. And the group's putting some special focus on mental health, but broadly protecting kids. When it comes to children, firearms are the leading cause of death among kids. The Salt Lake City Tribune pointed out that at the state level, there's been an impulse to ban dangerous things for kids on many levels. You've talked about social media. You focused on transgender issues. But that doesn't extend to firearms, even at the state level. Why is that?
When you look at the gun numbers in the state of Utah, those numbers increasing are not being driven by people getting caught in the crossfire or, kids shooting each other. It's being driven specifically by mental health and suicide issues. Now, we're doing more to help keep guns away from kids, keep them locked up. But what is it that's driving that desire to say life is not worth living anymore? And how do we as a society collectively work to make sure that kids know that it is going to get better and there is a reason to stay here? That's a huge focus for us as well.
Your state is the first, as I understand it, to restrict social media access by minors, although that law doesn't go into effect until March of next year.
Correct.
You just had this judge this week make a determination that the Biden administration should be prohibited from discussing with social media companies anything that encourages, pressures, or induces in any manner the removal, deletion, suppression, or reduction of content. Is that ruling going to affect what you are trying to do at the state level to protect young kids from harmful content?
I don't think so. I don't understand. That's more of a content restriction. I'm sure we'll have social media companies suing the state of Utah. In fact, we're going to be suing social media companies for the harm and damage that they're causing our young people. I suspect that at some point the Supreme Court will weigh in on this decision when it comes to restricting youth access. There's not just a correlation between social media use and an increase in suicide, anxiety, depression, self-harm. There is a causal link there.
There are 18 different states that have now enacted laws that restrict in some way access to gender transition care for kids. In Utah, you have said that you are just pausing access to that kind of care. You're not banning it. Do you have an end date to that pause? What specifically is the kind of data and research you need to see to say you will allow for it?
Yeah, so we don't have an end date, but we do need more data and more information. This is such a charged topic that it's been impossible, I believe, to get good information here in the United States right now, because half the country doesn't want to touch it and the other half is convinced that they already know the answer. And so I've really tried to look elsewhere at conversations that are happening in other countries, specifically in Europe, around this, where it's not quite as charged, looking at Sweden and Finland and France and the UK, other countries where they don't have the same culture war battles that we're having here. And they're also pushing pause. I mean, many of those countries are saying, look, this is...
specific part of it? Is it hormone treatment, puberty blockers, surgery?
Both, all of the above, yeah.
Because the American Medical Association, the American Psychiatric Association, and the American Academy of Pediatrics have said this kind of care, that they've rejected the claims that it is harmful.
Yeah, all very political groups. And again, I believe that they are politicized. Those groups are politicized.
The American Academy of Pediatrics.
I absolutely do. Yes. On this issue, it's impossible to get unbiased information out of the United States right now on this issue. I just don't believe it.
So just on the numbers, 73 million